Hello and welcome to Rock's Review. Hopefully everything is alright. This is the first long video, this is the first live video that I am doing on my second channel, so there is an odd chance of me just talking to myself in front of a very attractive mirror. So, you know what? I don't care. I just want to have a good time with all of you people, even if there is only one of you. Today, we want to talk about... Okay, I was a bit loud. Today we want to talk about every future antagonist of One Piece world and how we might rank them in terms of danger for Straw Hats and how big of an antagonist they are for the plot of One Piece. I'm gonna make myself a bit smaller here. Yeah, I think that's better. So this is not necessarily about the power level of characters. This is about their position as antagonists in One Piece plot. The list is random and it's about Garling, Zebek, Teach, Imo-sama, Kozan, Buggy, Akainu, Shanks, and Gorosei as a whole. Omar, great to have you. 3 people in the live so far, and I'm so glad to have all of you. Also, update on Shanks and Beckman fanfiction. I am working on the final act, the last 4 chapters of the story. So I have to be extremely careful because as soon as I publish a chapter, I can no longer take back what I said, and I want to be careful. But that's the reason the story is the publishing of the Shanks and Ben Beckman story is taking a bit long. But at the end of the day, I want to have a good fan fiction. Someday that even you can say, hey, fan fictions are not that bad. This dude rocks wrote one, and if you like One Piece, go ahead and read it. But Rocks is dead. Yeah, Omar, we're gonna talk about it. Again, the list is at no particular order as we speak. I want to open up my water because I'm pregnant with a lot of idea. At number 9, we have Gorosei. Again, Gorosei are still considered to be a future antagonist of One Piece world. I'm a bit disappointed and hyped for seeing them at Egghead Island. I am disappointed because I assumed they were preserved for endgame of One Piece. The moment you show your power on a full scale, you're no longer a hidden force of power. That's the main argument that a lot of Mihawk fans are having, that hey, Mihawk is not an endgame, is not a mid-game player, and he's endgame player because Mihawk went all out during Marineford. And again, arguing with that logic is extremely hard. But these 5 dudes, first of all, they shattered my expectations about their power, but they also proved not to be endgame. I mean, this is the beginning of the endgame, but they are not endgame. Roman Beast, why not stream on your main channel? Here are we getting less views. I want to do it. I wanted to do it and see what will happen. That's just it. I'm not necessarily always doing live reviews. I'm just doing it for experience. I wanted to have at least one live on my second channel and see what will happen. Just see what will happen. I'm not here to make money. I'm here to have fun. Trust me, I could have made much easier money if I wanted to. Okay, so but again, comparing. So I'm gonna say compared to Akainu, I'm gonna push Shanks a bit up because we're gonna talk about Shanks later. But again, no matter how we're gonna plan it, if we talk about Gorosei compared to Akainu, they are a more significant endgame villains than Akainu. Akainu is the soldier of Gorosei. Gorosei are the master. Again, they might not end up being as endgame as we expected them to be, but they are more endgame than Akainu. They are more endgame than Buggy. Of course they are more endgame than Buggy. Buggy is the leader of Cross Guild and right now is rivaling Luffy for the Pirate King throne. And as Oda already implied in the SBS, Gorosei, the government, is the opponents that Luffy will face after finding One Piece. So Gorosei and Buggy is again, a fair factor in terms of possibility of being Pirate King, ignoring Luffy. But he's not in the end game. But between Gorosei and Shanks, if Shanks is an antagonist, if Shanks is an antagonist, I don't think he is more evil than Gorosei. But if Shanks is an antagonist, he can be top 2. He can be the person who is fighting against everybody. He can be the blade of Im-sama. He can be heir to Garling. He can be the final soldier of the world government, because Im-sama is not herself a big deal. Im-sama is a leader. There is a very good possibility for that. So I have to acknowledge the possibility. I mean, we know that at some point there has to be some type of conflict between Shanks and Luffy. I mean, Luffy himself said that I'm gonna fight against all of the Yonko, but he only showed 3 number, which is like a stupid thing to do. It's Oda foreshadowing using Luffy's stupidity, and I love it. So there is a very good chance of Shanks being number 1. But since we don't know he is or he is not, I'm just gonna say he's not. As we speak, if he's an antagonist, as we speak, he's not as big as the LS Gorosei. He might be even bigger. He might be the final antagonist of One Piece world. He might be the blade of gods. But as we speak, no. Gorosei and Kuzan, of course, all day, every day. Gorosei and Im-sama, hell no. So Gorosei and Teach. Again, the argument. Teach is not endgame as we speak. But after what happened in Egghead Island, after they stole the identity of Saturn, I want to have Teach higher than Gorosei. So Zebek and Gorosei. If Zebek is alive, again, he could be even above Teach. No, he cannot be above Teach. If Zebek is alive, maybe he's the man with a burned scar. There is a very good possibility for that happening. Omar, if Shanks was an antagonist, he would not be able to get Nika fruit. Antagonist is good. Again, I know every argument about Shanks being antagonist, and honestly, right now that we have Garling, I believe we got the evil Shanks that we want from Garling. Garling is the evil Shanks that we all talked about. He is exactly and literally evil Shanks. So I don't believe Shanks is antagonist, but I'm just entertaining the idea, because he's one of the major factors who can be antagonist. Not evil, but at least antagonist. But Gorosei are not a big... But again, back to Zebek. If Zebek is an antagonist, if he's alive, if he's a man with a burn scar, that's the only possibility for him being alive. I do not think he's as significant as Gorosei. I just don't think that. Or even Teach, because Teach is a real life. He is the updated version of Zebek, as Luffy is the updated version of Joy Boy. So we are comparing Garling to Gorosei. Now this is a bit tricky. Because if we're gonna talk about Gorosei and Garling, we cannot deny it. Garling is more endgame than Gorosei. Roman, even though Shanks is supposed to be evil, the odds that he done good deeds so they would actually... Gorosei. So Gorosei should be higher. Yeah, Gorosei should be higher. Again, Shanks can be even the main antagonist of One Piece world. If Oda have massive balls and One Piece is gonna take a darker turn by the end, Shanks might be the greatest antagonist in One Piece world. I can write that story and be fairly good. If Oda want to do that, he can do it. But Gorosei and Garling, I'm a bit conflicted, because Gorosei are higher in order, but Garling is more endgame. Gorosei are immortal, Garling was stronger physically. Gorosei are mythical beast who saw Nika. Garling is father of Shanks and the leader of Holy Knights. So, who is going to give more trouble to Luffy? Who is going to be more antagonist to Luffy? For now, I'm going to take a leap of faith and say it's Garling, but comparing Garling to Im-sama is madness. So, if you want to rank Gorosei, I'm going to say it's for now, it's here. But back to Akainu. Akainu is the leader of Marine. He should be more of an antagonist than than Buggy. Buggy is gonna have some problem. It's the list is not final yet. San, the list is not final yet. You are playing with the ideas. And see what will happen. So, Akainu should be above Kuzan with any logic. Akainu should be above Shanks. Again, Shanks can be above him in terms of being an antagonist, but not as of now. And Buggy, nah. But Akainu and Teach, again, it depends. If Teach is gonna be even more endgame than Gorosei, of course, he's gonna be here. But it's a bit tricky. I'm gonna talk about Akainu and Zebek. Like Zebek, the only scenario for Zebek being still relevant in the world of One Piece is him as the man with the burn scar. He gonna give one challenge to Luffy as an old man, and he probably is already damaged badly ever since the days of God Valley. If Roxy Zebek is alive, he's not close to his prime. He's no longer the strongest character. Akainu is too weak to be a future antagonist. Yeah, but Akainu is more important. He's not just a dude. Not that Akainu is weak. He's not just one dude. Akainu is the leader of the Marine. He's the fleet's admiral. I'm not gonna lie. Akainu is more significant than Zebek. But Teach, I'm not sure. We're gonna talk about Teach later. Akainu is the leader of... this is the part of government. Im-sama is the final boss, of course. Garling is the leader of Holy Knight, final line of defense. Maybe 9 Straw Hats versus 9 Holy Knights. That even could be a scenario. Gorosei could be higher, but since Oda gave Garling and Holy Knights more endgame vibe, for now I'm gonna trust the vibe. This is the more reasonable way to have it. To have Im-sama, Gorosei, Garling, and Akainu going by a rank. Im-sama is the most important person alive. They are the highest authority. He is the judge of gods and he is the fleet admiral. There is a big gap here, but this could be the most logical among government. But for now, I'm going to break the logic. Actually, no, it's unfair. I'm going to have Gorosei above Garling. Gorosei they have to be more endgame than Garling. This is a more reliable way of looking at it. So Akainu for now at number 4. We have 5 pirates and we have 4 world government in this list. San, I think it would be a fight for Sabo Revolution, not Luffy. I think Luffy should. Why put Kuzan there? Because he's a top tier and he might be an antagonist. He might actually be the final match for Zoro or something. He could be an antagonist. Back to the list. Now let's talk about Buggy. Shanks and Buggy, as far as being an antagonist, who is gonna push Luffy more? If Shanks is the final weapon, Shanks is either the final boss of One Piece world, or he's not an antagonist. So he either is the blade and the final weapon of celestial dragons, or he is just not an important villain. He's not an important antagonist. Therefore, he is above Bug, but he still is above Kuzan. Like, Kuzan is an underling to Teach. He's not that important. He might not even be bad. In fact, he 99% is an undercover agent as we speak. So, but ignoring Kuzan, Shanks and Kuzan, again, have the least likely odds of being an antagonist, and they are good guys. But again, Shanks is the leader of his group, Kuzan is an underling to his group, so no. And Buggy is actually above them. Buggy is a leader of a growing force called Cross Guild, which is like a significant power. And they might get stronger after we have Vivil, after we have Doflamingo, after we have Boa Hancock, maybe even Judge. I can't even see the day that Judge and Caesar and all of these people join Buggy. I can see that happening. So for now, as far as importance as antagonists go, I'm actually gonna argue Buggy, current day Buggy, might be more relevant than Zebek. The only way that Zebek is alive, is that he's the man with a burned scar. He definitely is extremely damaged. He definitely is no longer close to his prime. He might even be retired. He might not even be interested in doing anything big anymore. He's a defeated man. He just want to keep the last poneglyph. That's the only scenario. He still is a more real threat than Shanks and Kuzan, but Buggy is a real rival to the throne of Pirate King. Old Zebek is not. Like, if this was during Roger era, this was the reality. During Roger era, this was reality. Prime Zebek, who is leading Rock's pirates, might even be a bigger threat than Im-sama herself. Or himself, we don't know the gender of Im-sama. But the old and broken Zebek, who is the captain of one ship and has no chance of being the king of the world or king of the pirates, he's not a big deal as far as antagonists go, assuming he's alive. So, but he might be relevant. I cannot believe that Zebek is dead. I cannot believe it. Knowing Oda, knowing One Piece, knowing that he refuses to kill anybody, I cannot see it. We have Teach. We have now again we have finally Teach. I don't think Buggy is above Akainu. I don't see that, and that's finally gonna leave us with Teach. This again, the list right now. The list sounds about alright. It took me how many minutes? Like, I don't think we are even 20 minutes in. It took me 16 minutes to rank all the future antagonists of One Piece. But, and this might be the most reasonable way. You see, Luffy wants to be the Pirate King. Kuzan is an underling of a rival, so he's gonna give him some challenge. Shanks is not enemy, not friend, so not a big antagonist. Zebek might give him a bit challenge for the last poneglyph. Buggy is a rival to the throne. Teach is the biggest rival to the throne. Akainu is the leader of Marine. Actually, I'm gonna say Teach is above Akainu. No way. No, actually, and after the piratehood is destroyed, after pirates are destroyed, after the Second God Valley, after the fall of Teach, after Luffy found One Piece, this is the reality. He needs to face Akainu, then Garling, then Gorosei, then Im-sama. This could be the reality, but after the members of Teach Pirates stole the identity of a member of Gorosei, I can see this. I can see Teach being even endgame after Luffy found One Piece. I can see that. In fact, I can see this. This might be the reality in One Piece world. This might be the true balance of power. The three main antagonists of One Piece who are preserved for endgame. Garling, Teach, Im-sama. This could be easily the reality. And Im-sama, honestly, if Im-sama is not the final villain of One Piece, what the hell are we doing here? I just figured it out. I just figured out that it wasn't your main channel. Oh, it's okay. I'm having a little fun on my second channel to see what will happen. So, if Oda goes crazy, if he hype Garling exactly as high as he wants, if he give Teach every hype that he's telling us that he will give us, this might be the final ranking of One Piece. Im-sama, the greatest villain of all time, the historical villain of One Piece world, Joy Boy and everyone. Teach, the main rival to the throne, and the fallen D. Garling, the last line of defense for the world government. Gorosei, the guardians of gods. Akainu, the leader of the marine. Buggy, the second most major rival of Luffy for the throne. Zebek, perhaps the man with the burned scar who gonna give Luffy some trouble for finding the last poneglyph. Shanks, a Yonko who is more of an ally than enemy. We're gonna give Luffy some pushback. Of course, I can see that happening. And Kuzan, a very strong top tier who is not even antagonist most likely, but for now is one of the maybe the strongest Yonko commander. I don't know. We have Kuzan, we have Mihawk, and we have Ben Beckman. But Ben Beckman is a vice captain. Mihawk is not officially an underling. He's a partner. So yeah, as far as Yonko commander go, people with a rank of Yonko commander, Kuzan is the strongest Yonko commander, and he might give a good, I mean, seeing Zoro fighting against Kuzan is a big treat. Like, that's something that I would love to see. So that's it. This is the list that I'm making for all the future antagonists in One Piece world. More predictable one is this. The most predictable one that we expected a few years ago is this. Shanks could be number 1, Zebek at his prime could have been number 1 or number 2, but for now I'm gonna take a leap of faith and say this is the reality. This is what Oda planned for us. Thanks for being with me in my second channel. I loved doing this, and I see you all beautiful people at freaking Laugh